Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Something Super Spiritual. And you know what? It's been a minute since I've had this live stream going. And I have Sheila Marie with us right now.
Namaste.
A lot of you probably remember her. She was on my show a couple months ago. She's the forensic medium, you guys. She's got so many interesting stories. And she's written an incredible book called Forensic Medium, The Power of the Unseen, which is almost out, right?
Yes, it should be out hopefully by Thanksgiving. Yeah. Yay.
Just in time for Christmas.
Yes, just in time for the gift list. Nice stocking stuffer or an ebook, so you could do whatever you want. It's good for people across the miles as well.
Yeah.
So,
after you were on with me last time, I had quite a few people message me about how one finds their way into the forensic work. And I know your story that was, you told that on the podcast that day.
Sure.
And it was truly, it was miraculous. It was spirit driving that bus,
Absolutely.
putting you to where you needed to be.
Yep.
So why don't you talk a little bit about what it's like, when you're working with police departments or the FBI or, that.
Sure. Yeah. So like I said, I didn't plan on becoming a forensic medium. I was just doing readings and stuff. And my goal was to teach people, to connect to mediumship. That was what my life purpose was and still is. But so I used to be a police officer for many years. And in that time, I was an investigator as well. And I know why I could never understand. I was from a policing family, but no one could ever understand why I became a cop because I was the nurturer. I really wasn't the I'm a cop. Not to put anyone in a certain place, but it's not who anyone expected me to be. And now I know why, because Spirit was laying the foundation for everything for me.
Yeah.
And so I'll say one of my first experiences with the FBI is I had a guy who actually helped me, who I believe he was inspired by Spirit. And he actually helped me to become the forensic medium that I am. So he would be like, he was kind of like my guide in a sense, where he would ask me certain questions, and he knew how to work my medium and who I was, and how to ask me questions without me thinking, and with keeping me open. I went to one of my first things. He said to me, "Okay, I have a missing persons case for you." I don't know if I told you this story one, but I can tell you a different one if you want. I have so many.
Yeah, no, please go
ahead.
And
he said, "Oh, I have this missing persons. I'm not going to tell you who it is, this and that, but this is the picture of the woman." And I said, "Okay, fine." So he goes, "Okay, let's get in the car. Do you have a couple days?" I'm like, "Sure." I'm like, "Couple days?" I'm like, "I have a family, what do you mean?" I'm like, "Okay, I'll just tell him I'm working, right? I'm not having an affair or anything, right?" So I get in the car, and he's like, "Okay, tell me which way to go." And I said, Are you kidding me?" He's like, "No, go in your head and ask Spirit." Now, I have a friend who was a police officer friend of mine when I was working. He passed. And when I work in forensics, his name is Stu. I ask him all the time, "Where should I go, Stu?" And he's my accuracy. Okay. And because I trust Stu 300%, it's easy for me to give him the reins and not think. So I trust whatever that funnel that's coming in, you know what I mean, right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And so I sat there, and he's like, "Okay, where are you going?" So literally we were in Massachusetts, and we drove. I'm not going to give you the state because still people are alive and suspect, but I'm going to give you similar to it. Okay. And so we drove through 2 states north. Okay. And next thing I know, when we're there, he goes, "Okay, go in, get some things from Spirit." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Ask Spirit this, and that." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So I'm like, "Okay, Spirit." I'm writing things down. I don't know what I'm writing, right? He goes, "What are you getting?" I send him the names. I'm giving him names and stuff, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. And he goes, "Okay, we're here." I said, what? He goes, what are your 5 landmarks that you have? And basically I gave him the name of the cemetery that we were right next to. I'm not kidding you. The block, the roadways block, it was unbelievable, right? And
Seriously.
so I brought him right to the town, and every time I said right, he went right. I mean, this went on for like 3 hours, you know. And so we get there, and I was pulled towards a chapel, you know, and I'm like, really feel drawn towards this chapel. You need to go to this chapel. And I'm writing down all these names. And a big thing for me is when I'm doing it, I have a piece of paper, and I'm writing down everything that Spirit's showing me, even if it makes no sense at all, because later on it will,
Yeah,
you
sure.
know, and right. And I'll never forget, there was this, I was drawn to these neck of the woods, you know what I mean? Because everything was woods and where we were. And turns out that the house that the woman was taken from was right there. And I didn't know. He
Oh,
didn't even know. Right. So, but what I normally do is I'll go in. So what we did that day, this is funny. So he goes, okay, you're going to go in and you're going to introduce yourself. I'm like, what? He goes, go and introduce yourself to the FBI. I'm like, are you out of your friggin' mind? I'm like, I go, they're going to think I'm quacked. I go, I think I'm quacked. He goes, it's okay. Just do it. And so this is really funny. So they have a staging area. And so there's this old building, and it's like a town hall type thing, the staging area. And when I opened up the car that he had rented, all the smoke came out of the car because I had saged the car.
oh,
So it looked like we were smoking dope, you know, it was pretty funny.
yeah.
So I get outside, I introduced myself, and and I said, I'm going to be in the area. If you need someone to come with me, that's fine. And so they gave me a contact, this and that. So what I did was, it was a 3-day event for me. And I got a lot of information. We were going down roads, and when we get to certain points, my friend Kevin, he would say, okay, Sheila, what about this, and that? Cause he's doing all the thinking, and I'm just funneling everything, you know?
Yeah.
And so we got it down, and I went back and I did some reports. And what happens is I'll go back, and 9 times out of 10, the first page I write, like drawings or maps or names or anything, is always what they need. It's
Yeah.
the first page. And I'll go through 30 pages, you know, but
Yeah.
I always have to go to, because it's always about interpretation, because I don't know what I'm doing, because I have no idea what's even happened to this person. So a lot of times what I find is Spirit will show me the crime first, then they'll show me the location. And also in every crime that I've worked in, and there are hundreds, none of them are similar. None of them are the same. I don't really know what I should be asking, because Kevin's not telling me, is the body missing? Is the crime missing? You know what I mean? I'm just
Right.
open to what I need to know, especially in this case. And it was both in this case. They needed to know both. And yeah, so that happened. And so I drew everything, this and that. And then he goes, okay, the second day, he goes, this is what's happened, Sheila. He goes, so it gets to a point where I get all the information, and now I got to put it together. And so that's when my investigation techniques come in, and I understand everything. What's the landmark? I'll go back and I'll circle, like say, it'll say like pine trees, Ralph break, or something like that. And I'll circle what word I feel that it needs. And I'll ask Spirit, and it's like a communication in a different way too, but I'm actually thinking it this time as well. And then it paints a picture, you know, and then like into after I get all the information, then like he shows me the location, and I actually have oh, this is divinely inspired too. So everything I do is divinely inspired.
Oh,
So
completely.
right. And you know, what's it called? It's not a laptop. You know what I mean? A tablet.
iPad?
Yeah, a tablet,
Uh-huh.
you know, and so I didn't have a tablet at the time. So I had to go back to the computer and look at the maps, this and that, and to see, and then do it this way. And I said, oh, someday I'll have one of those, you know. Actually, that was a different case. But anyways, I said this on a different case. And I'll tell you about that in a second. So remind me of that. Okay. And so anyways, with this case, so it was really amazing. And so we got everything. I got all my paperwork. I gave it to the FBI, this and that. And then the next few many hours, we found the person in so many feet from where the location was. So the thing that was very, very scary for me was this was one of my first cases. Here I am, just a civilian. You know what I mean? People don't know who I am just yet, right? And everybody's suspect. So why do I know where the body is? Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So it was like, oh my God, right? So what do you do? You know? So I have to be brutally honest, and it was amazing. But I got a rapport with some agents and some agencies, and now they come to me. So that's really good. And
I have a question.
Surely.
So at that time, when you were at that place where you started to introduce yourself,
yeah,
like, were they used to it, or did they look at you like you were?
They're used to psychics going and doing a reading. I feel this, I feel that, but that's not what I do.
Right.
It's completely different. Like, I know I do that, like when I'm reading for people, but when I'm doing this, it's completely policing. I'm sitting down.
And the FBI officers, did they look at you like you had two heads when you first showed up?
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Because there's a lot of ego, you know, and it's okay though. So what I have found is, like, on the cases that I work on now, like, I never look for a case. That case was brought to me through Kevin because he looked for it and he wanted to see what I could do.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, okay. But I'm like, oh, what the hell? Get me out of the house on Sunday. That's where I look at it, And, but they have a lot of psychics that will, like, I've been to, what if I go to the space where the missing is, if it's a missing person's case, there are usually psychics there that come out of the woodwork and they'll say, oh, I've seen this, this, and that. But for me, it's a different process. I've made my own blueprint where, like I told you, I don't know anything. I don't want to know anything, because if I have a clear channel, you're better off. And then I sit down and then I get the imprints, I'll get faces, I'll get everything. Sometimes I get dreams. Like I had, there was this case in New York City. Big case. And I think I might have told you about it before. I don't remember. I can't remember the cases, but I always go back to this because I'll never forget it. I get dreams, and the little boy was in front of me, showing me the people exactly how they look like. And I'm drawing. Spirit's just coming through me and I'm drawing the face. It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And so let me tell you this. I have to tell you this. This is really cool. Okay, so I was on another case, and for some weird reason, talking about missing persons. Now, a lot of my crime cases are not missing persons. It's more of a location they need to find a living person, or homicides, or types of crimes. So there's different. It's not always missing persons a lot, Right. And so I was on this missing persons case though one time, and we were driving through the woods. I mean, well, yeah, kind of in the woods. And I said to this person, I said, oh, yeah. I said, I would love to have one of those. What are those? I forget it again. What is it called? Tablets. Those tablets. Because they were just coming out, And I said, oh, I would love one of those. That would be great. I could do all my maps and everything and bring it. I'm not kidding you. I don't know if it was this person, or I don't know if it was divinely inspired, but about a month later, someone knocked on my door, this woman. And she goes, excuse me. And I said, what? She goes, here you go. I said, what is this? She goes, I have a feeling that you need this. She goes, and I sell these. I'm not kidding you. What? And she's, yeah. She did the handwriting program on the tablets, like, like how you can change the handwriting and stuff. Yeah. She did that on there, and she had a whole bunch of them. She goes, I don't know why, but I feel that you need this. And I'm thinking, thank you, Spirit.
Oh my God.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. So you ask and you shall receive.
So true. And I love what you're saying too. Well, first of all, you guys, thank you so much for being here. It's been a minute. Yeah. Evelyn, Samantha, Michael, Vicky. Hi, Vicky. Hi. Lorraine, Subi, Susan. Hi, everybody. Keith. Hi. Yeah. Sharon. Hi, Sharon. Lola. Hey, Lola.
Hey, Lola.
You guys, if you have any questions for Sheila here, go ahead and write them down and we'll get to them. I saw somebody ask the question, your book, the name of her book is called Forensic Medium, The Power of the Unseen.
Right. Yeah.
And she said it'll be dropping before Thanksgiving.
Yes. And right now you can go on the book site. It's called forensicmedium.com, or you can go to my website, SheilaMarieMedium.com, and you can pre-order. It's
Awesome.
an ebook or a paperback.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So many things that you're talking about here. Like, first of all, I love how when you're there, you're doing the work, you've got the FBI or the police or all of the above, and you're just, jotting down your whatever you're getting. And I love the like, it doesn't matter how long we do this work. When we deliver evidence like that, whether we're just doing a normal reading for a family or like what you're doing for the FBI, I mean, it still blows my mind every single time, every time. And I love that, that childlike awe. I hope I never lose it, because it's
absolutely.
It's
amazing, because you're like, oh my God, what? You understand that? Are you really? That's what keeps you in it, I think. Yeah. For me, and it's like an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
And it makes you like, okay, I'm not crazy after all. They understand this. They understand this person, this name, this place, this everything. Oh, I totally get that with you. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's a wonderful feeling.
It's incredible. And I love how you just spirit put you where you needed to be.
Yeah.
And here you need this iPad or tablet, and
my God,
it just shows up like that. I mean,
yeah.
Thank you, heaven.
What? I have to tell you, years prior to this, when I was just doing my mediumship, and there's nothing wrong with just doing mediumship, because I'm still helping a lot of people in a different way. But I used to want to feel like, oh, I need to do this and that. And I would try to go ahead and maybe force things to happen, And with this, it was different. It came to me and landed on my lap and said, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to do this? And I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? And so what I find is it actually gave me a new vibration in my mediumship to hop on that wave and just let the river take me where it needs to go. Mm-hmm. And being in tuned to what spirit is providing for me, and ultimately spirit is in control anyways, but they know exactly how they want to use you if you're willing to work for spirit.
Oh, oh, that's so truthful. 100%. And you just have to be, all open and receptive and willing to go for that ride.
Absolutely. And you have to be, for me, it's been a lot of obstacles. It was really hard for me socially, because I couldn't share anything with anyone for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And now I get to share with you. There's new people in my life. I'm like, oh, you get me. You understand this, because you know this, what this is. You do this. And for me, it was really a struggle, and sometimes every now and again, I'll be around people like in an instant where there's like a bunch of agents or something, or it's all ego, that they don't believe it. But let me tell you, what I find is in a case, I'm all over the place, sorry. In a case, like if I was working on a missing persons case, like I always wait. Like you could always go and say, oh, like people say, oh, you should work on that. I said, no. Let them come to me. If I'm meant to work on this case, someone will come to me. When they exhaust everything, let them come to me, because everybody has a life purpose. The police have a life purpose. The families have a life purpose. And it's really important to let all that happen, because then my life purpose will happen. If they need me, they'll find me, and it's so true. It really does happen that way, and I mean, there are thousands of cases out there, all types of cases out there that I could find, but I don't do it for the money. You know what I mean? It's about spirit. I'm working for spirit, and spirit will provide who needs to come to me,
Well, and I find
and that's how you came to me, Jeffrey.
It sure is. I mean, totally. We were just connected, and it was, it wasn't you searching me out or me searching you out. It just suddenly, like, here you were.
Yeah.
I love it. So I can imagine like doing this work. It's rewarding. I
Mhm.
mean, beyond rewarding, but
Yeah.
for instance, like missing persons. Like if you
Yeah.
find somebody who's been missing and they don't know if they're alive or if they're dead or if they're in town or on the other side of the world. I mean,
Right.
that's got to be a whole different level of.
Yeah, I find it, it's humbling for sure. I have to, I'm brutally honest, and I tell them if I'm getting it, if I'm getting my information from the spirit, there's a good chance the person's not alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm not, but I'll be brutally honest with them and be there for them too to catch them. But
Mhm.
usually, if it's a missing persons or it doesn't necessarily mean that there's been a murder either.
Mhm. Mhm.
Sometimes it's a kidnapping, sometimes it's just someone who's run away, but it's a resolution to help that family member or that agent, whoever, to connect and bring it to peace in some
Oh,
way,
totally.
you
I
know?
mean, peace, whether they're even if they're past peaceful, knowing that.
Yeah,
But if they're still here and you find them, I mean,
yeah,
that surprise and joy and
yeah.
shock and awe of getting this person back.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
I find what happens to me is when I work on a case, when I decide I'm working on a case, I make a folder and everything. I treat it just like a police case would. And I find myself to be the medium, but the police officer as well. And in another sense, as my emotions go away,
Hmm. Hmm.
and that's that police training I had in the academy. And then I'm totally with spirit. It helps me to focus easier. I get all the information. I write everything down. I give them a report. And some people don't want to report, some agents, but well, mostly agents do, but some families do as well. But I'll write it anyways, even just for my files. So I have everything. And sometimes I have people that come to me when I'm doing a reading, like they'll come in and they're suspect to me, like spirit showing me, hey, check out, this person's coming for a reason. You know what I mean? They may have something to do with the crime. So I have to get everyone's license, this and that. It's like a scenario of being an investigator still.
Totally. Yeah.
And so what I teach my students to do is I teach them the breakdown of that. And I like right now I have a couple of students that I'm teaching them the mapping part. So to let go and to allow spirit to come through you, and don't always, it's just because you're getting something visually, may mean a landmark of the area that you're in. But you'd be surprised. So many areas are so similar. You know what I mean? So you have to navigate a little bit more. To me, I knew that I was on. I'm really blessed and I'm grateful. I knew that this was a calling for me when I started getting dreams because I didn't ask for that.
Oh,
I'm like,
seriously.
I'm like, whoa. I go, apparently this is my purpose because why am I getting dreams now? I never asked for dreams before. I'm like, what the heck? Yeah. So it's kind of
Yeah.
cool though.
You're working in your sleep.
Yeah. And which is the most quietest time too, and sometimes I'll get like a dream and I'll say, oh, I think I'm getting a case or something. So I'll write everything down. And then the person will come in. I'll say, oh, here you go. Here's the information already. But I'll get it. And I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. It never fails. Every time I go camping, I always get a dream. My friends laugh at me. What are you going to dream about tonight, Sheila? and it's, and I won't tell anybody either, and I think it's just because I'm open. Spirit's got me all ready for a case.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. I just sometimes can't believe that I'm doing that. Like
Yeah.
I never thought I would be doing this ever.
It's really phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah.
so I know you teach. You
Yeah.
do classes as well for
Yeah.
budding intuitives
I
and
do a mentorship
mediums.
too and retreats as well.
Do
Hint,
you?
hint.
Oh, I'm coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you teach people like how to get into the forensic work as well, or just more about?
Absolutely. Yep. So what I do is my advanced students, when they get to a plateau where they're very comfortable with mediumship, where they're very active, because it's all about the mediumship. It's
Yeah.
all about letting go, letting the spirit come through you, and allowing not to think anymore. You know what I mean? When you're doing the medium, that's the hardest part. Being human, we get
Oh,
in our own way with the connection.
that's the truth.
Yeah. So when they feel, and when they feel that they're ready, and I feel that they are, then I'll teach them the forensics part, because the forensics part is not hard. It's the mediumship about being open and connecting and trusting,
Yeah.
because when you're working on a case, you have to be completely vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even know what you're doing, because you don't even know the person's, maybe you'll know their name or their face. That's it. So you just have to funnel. And it's a lot to sometimes when I teach, I have this class going on right now, and people will doubt what they're seeing, but they're seeing maybe 3 or 4 things,
For sure.
but days and days of doubting can be really hard.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So
Oh,
it almost feels like you're cuckoo. So
yeah.
when I do it, I have to sage my space, set my intention, trust what I'm seeing, and just go with the flow. And 9 times out of 10, it works.
Mhm.
But it's not something that I knew right away. I swear my friend Kevin came into my life to guide me, to show me what questions I needed to ask spirit while I was doing it, and with that, I was able to form my own blueprint. It wasn't taught to me in a sense from another
Sure.
medium,
Mhm.
and I'll help mediums to navigate through forensics and mapping and stuff like that. And because a reading can be uh, very accurate, but it's a little different in a sense where, because you're funneling just information, so you're getting a lot of words and stuff. It's just a little different,
Sure.
but it's still that connection is what's giving you the information,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Makes total sense.
yeah, I have a lot of sometimes I have a lot of families who have people who have passed, and they want to know about the homicides. They want to know what happened, because the people are still alive. They're suspects still, and they want information and stuff. That can be amazing too,
Oh God.
but
Yeah.
but the area things, I just love doing the area ones, like location and stuff, because I'm amazed when people, and then sometimes spirit will show me visually of what I need to see or say,
Yeah.
like a bridge or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, you just never know. Like one time I was working on this case, and I don't know, I think it was not Wyoming. Yeah, oh, Montana that way. Some
Mhm.
cowboy or whatever was missing. And yeah, but the things that you see in your head are really amazing, because you don't really wouldn't suspect things, but then you have to put in the area and where they're from. What is spirit showing me? How would I say, a campfire in Massachusetts is a different campfire than in Montana, and then in one in Arizona. So there's, you know what I mean? Different
Yeah.
language, different everything. And so then you put all the keys together in your map and stuff. So and for me, when I'm doing it, I'm not emotional when I do it. It's usually maybe a week or 2 afterwards. I'm like, oh, because then all of a sudden I go, oh my God, this is real.
Yeah.
This isn't TV, this is real. And it's like the
Yeah.
emotions just pour, because the spirit, if the spirit's passed, I'll feel the spirit's energy, and the spirit will guide me,
Mhm.
so it's
Mhm.
pretty amazing. Sorry, I keep talking.
That's all right. It's so interesting, and it's just, not many of us are out there doing what you're doing. It's just
Yeah.
fascinating.
That's why I tell
Um,
everyone, come and I'll teach you how, you know?
yeah. Vicky has this question for you. Does your police background give you more credibility with the law enforcement, especially now after you've been doing it for a while?
I feel it helps. Yeah, now that I've been doing it for a while, yes, but I feel like it helps, but also I feel my delivery helps as well. Because I was trained to know how to do my reports, my investigations, so that I know the lingo that the agents need and that will understand, and I know what they're needing. Do you know what I mean? So in
Yeah.
that way, professionally, yes, I think that helps me. Did it help I was a police officer? Probably, because a lot of people still are like, oh, I don't want to say a bad word, but they're like, oh, they're like, oh my God, Sheila. Yeah. They're like, and because I was, I consider myself a truthful person. I'm not a liar or anything like, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? I was always honest, good, had good integrity as a police officer. So
Mhm.
why would I make something like that up? You know
Right.
what I mean? Yeah, it's really what it comes down to. So yeah, I believe it did help. Do you have to be a police officer? No, I think you just have to be a medium, be honest with you. I
Yeah.
could teach you the blueprint on the other stuff. And so you can understand that once you did, I believe everybody develops their own way of doing mediumship anyways.
Mhm. Mhm.
And but
Ye
for me, it works. It's like I have like an outline of how I do it and stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Vicky also asks, are there cases that you won't work on?
Well, a couple of times I've said no because I just knew that it wasn't right. Yes, there are cases. Okay, so what will happen is I'll get like say there's a missing persons, like how you get the Amber Alert, this and that, and all that.
Yeah. Yep.
And I just tell people I'm going to wait for my connection to help me, to come to me if they need me. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
And if the family, this and that. But what I don't like working on is people that say, "Oh, I've been looking up these people, and you should contact this cold case, this and that." I don't like that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like that to me makes me feel uncomfortable because the person has no I like people that have a connection to the case, and also or an agent that has a connection to the case because it's just easier going through loopholes that way. Do I want to help everyone? Sure, absolutely. Don't we all?
Yeah.
Does it mean that I won't? I probably will help as best as I can, but you can tell when there's something not right, and you might, you could say, oh, you could try someone else. But maybe one or two times has that happened.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, and I think you whether you're supposed to or not. If you're
Right.
feeling that tension about it, then that's
Yes.
your intuition saying, nope, beep, beep,
Right.
beep, beep, back up.
Yeah, sometimes I'll get it's hard because a lot of people that don't have closure, they don't know where their loved one is, this and that. They've been kidnapped, this and that. It's hard because you want to help them. And sometimes just a reading might help that person instead of the investigation, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Connecting
totally.
with the spirit who's passed and helping them uh, on a spiritual level, but also connecting them with their loved one as well. And sometimes I get cases like that. They just want to hear and what happened. I had a case. I do a lot of cases out of the country too.
Mhm.
And I think it was in Puerto Rico or something. I can't remember, but the whole family was spread out all over the world. It was quite a scene on TV, on the computer, someone in California, in Puerto Rico, one in Canada, and, but they understood everything because I actually got a dream. Sometimes I'll just get one dream. I can still, and it's amazing because, the Akashic records, the files that you see,
Oh yeah.
they're always in your head. So if you get into that energy again and talk about it, boom, you can see it again. Like right now, I'm seeing that dream I had.
Yeah.
And it was amazing because I'll tell you a little bit about this one. Um, so I had a dream. It was really weird. And I hadn't talked to the people yet. I didn't know. Sometimes I get a lot of things precognitive, which is before it happens, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I had a dream that I was in this dark place and there was these chickens, right? I'm not kidding you. And I'm looking down at the ground saying, what is there? Chickens on the ground. And all of a sudden I look up and there was this flash and I couldn't understand it, but I could see a silhouette of a man and that was it. I just thought it was a nightmare or something. I'm
Sure.
like, well, it was really crazy. Well, turns out this family comes to me and they were all over the place and they wanted to know what happened because apparently this guy was electrocuted. Yeah, and that's what the flash was with the
Sure.
and I have to tell you, then there was like electrical wires next to the chicken. So I'm looking down, I'm seeing electrical wire. I see the silhouette of a man in a flash, right? He was electrocuted. But what had happened was not only was he electrocuted, it was a hit. So it was a criminal hit.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
So,
he was
yeah. So,
intentionally
yeah.
electrocuted.
Yes. And so, yeah, so it was pretty amazing what spirit showed me, and they understood it, and they're all crying and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, what did I say? You know what I mean? Just keep telling them what you see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'll connect with the spirit if the family's in front of me, whatever, and then I'll talk to them and help them to help them with their healing, to tap into the healing, you know?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
And yeah, so it's been crazy. It's
I
been
have
crazy.
another question here for you. Oh, Evan, here we go.
Oh, Evan. Hello, Evan.
I'm probably going to ask the most asked questions. Thought on the John Benet Ramsey case?
Oh, in California.
I think it was Colorado.
Was it Colorado? I
I
don't
could be
know.
wrong. I mean, I think it was the
That was
80s.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember that was the girl with, didn't she have, oh, that's a different one, right? With the eye. Did she have a color different?
I
Do you know
don't,
what I'm talking
I don't
about?
know. I know she was a little beauty queen.
A
She was like
dancer, a
yeah,
dancer.
little, and she was
Yeah,
always all done up, blonde
yeah,
and
I didn't follow that case. I'm not sure. Was I even a medium then? I don't even know. I don't think I was, you know. What year did that happen? That was a long time
that
ago.
is a good question. I mean, I think
I
it was
have to tell
80s.
you. Yeah, I have to tell you though, I remember following that on television. I don't believe I was a medium at that time. I might have, I don't remember. And but I have to tell you, this is a good example of a lot of times you have to be very cautious in what you deliver because the suspects are still there. And because you're a psychic,
Oh,
people don't want you saying things that could be truthful too and guiding. You see what I'm saying?
oh, sure.
So I would say this is a great case of that because I remember there was a mother and a father. If I can see the faces, the mother and there was a lot of family things going on there, if I can remember
Mhm,
correctly.
mhm.
And so my thought on that is, as a medium, this is the reason why you have to be very cautious in your delivery and suspect. Like people will say, "Why don't you advertise?" I'm like, "Why would I?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't want people knowing I'm working on certain cases, this and that. And even if I had Evan worked on that case, I don't think I would tell you. You know what I'm saying? But this is a great, all that I can say is this is a great area and where you can understand, and you've seen on television and stuff, how this can linger on for years and
Oh,
years
well,
and years.
and John Benet's has. I mean, and in fact,
Yes.
Sue wrote in here, where did I see 1996? Oh, Vicky
Oh,
says 1995 Christmas Day. Oh, so it was 95 or 96 Christmas Day.
oh yeah, I wasn't a
And they're
medium
still
yet.
talking about it. Yeah.
I was in the police academy then. Oh, that's right. I was. And we talked about that at the police academy now that I remember that. That's a little
Oh,
weird.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Carol Your Way asks you, Sheila, do you use any other tools or just mediumship?
Well, that's really funny because my friend Kevin at the time when I first started, he goes, "We need a tool." I'm like, he goes, "We need a dog." Yeah.
Ooh.
And I said, "Well, I would look really cool with the dog, right?" And I said, "I would like that for protection." I don't use any other tools. I just use my mediumship. But I do actually. I use a pen and a paper. I'll use my computer, like I'll type my reports and stuff. But basically, I use computer paper and a pen or a pencil, and I just draw and write.
That's
And
your
then
tool.
yeah, that's my tool. My tool is the mediumship, but I also will draw faces too and stuff like that. So that's how I keep myself open for the automatic writing, you know. But can I use tools? Well, I might not, but the people that are there, because usually, like if it's a missing persons or something like that, they'll use the infra, on the screen and stuff,
Mhm, mhm.
like on that kind of stuff, and that's kind of really cool.
Like the
But
infrared? The
yeah,
infrared.
infrared and all that. They can see if there's a body, or like a
Oh,
warm
sure.
body. Yeah,
Yep.
and so the state police and crime labs and all. I mean, not crime labs, but the agencies. They'll use stuff like that for missing persons. But I mean, I have my tools would be my my relationship with my past of investigation as well too, because I'll look at my words and I'll say, what's the step? Oh, what does this number mean? Oh, I'm going to look for that on the map. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
investigative techniques, that would be more my tool. have I used any of that tool? No, no, that's about it. I has a why. Sometimes I don't like to go. I'll be honest with you. You don't have to go to the crime. I'd prefer not to, because
Yeah.
that's a whole different ball game, because you have the agencies, the people that are out there, and usually by the time they've called me in, they've exhausted everything. They're having a difficult time. And so then you have your family. Like I was working on one case that I was to meet one of my agents there, but he was late. And I said, well, I'm going to start walking and see what I get with these landmarks. And there was these two guys standing next to me. Turns out it was the person who was missing's relatives. And they were walking with me, and that was divinely inspired as well, you know? And so it was amazing. And I actually, because I was with those two and went off, I actually gave them the direction of where the spirit was. And they went off on their own way. And then when the agent came, he took me someplace else. And then those two family members found him. Yeah. So that was divinely inspired again. And what I really love, oh my God, Jeffrey, oh my God, what I really love is the birds.
The bird.
Like when I go to a case, if I have to be there, like spirit will show me birds. Like I'll just watch the animals and the animals will show me. Like I'll draw down blue jay or red robin or hawk or this and that. And all of a sudden I'll look, there's the hawk. Okay, follow the hawk. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my
And they'll guide you. And did I tell you about that one time? There was a hawk. I don't know if I told you. Maybe I went to a case and I met my guide who was an agent, and I met him walking on the side of the road. He hopped in and I said, oh, I know. I think I did tell you this when I was leaving the mill building, and all of a sudden I heard a hawk. I'll never forget it. I'm like, and there it goes, flies away. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so working on that case. And I was waiting for the person to come. To call me. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, he called me. Next thing I know, he's on the side of the road, hopping in my car. We get into where the staging was with the state police. And sure enough, there's the hawk over my car in front of us. We're following the hawk flying in front of us. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Yeah, I love shit. Oh, pardon my friend. I love stuff like that. Yeah. But it's the animals are amazing.
Yeah, it's all connected. Spirit
Absolutely
is everywhere.
Yes.
Synchronicity permeates everything.
Yes, and it's really important that you listen to people when they talk. Because everything you need to know, like if you're working on a case, like for me, spirit will speak through them. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. Yeah, it's crazy.
Tarot your way says nothing like a bird's eye view. Gonna win us. Yeah,
nothing. That is the ultimate. I had, what was that? I fell in water. I'm always around water in these cases. It was really funny. It was all these snakes, and I fell in the water. And I'm like, okay, that was supposed to happen because I wrote that down like a day before. I'm like, it's spirit knew I was falling in that water, you know? And
Wow.
yeah, it's crazy. And but I think it's very rewarding, you know. It's exhausting. I don't mind helping people, and but it's hard. It's hard, you know. It takes a lot on you. And I have a family, this and that, and I want to protect my family, you know what I mean? And so I don't talk about my cases because of that. But they know when mom's working, everything that I do is connected, you know what I mean? And I'll be standing in front of the TV. Oh my God, did you see that? I'm like, that's what that means. They're like, oh boy, here she goes again. You know, oh, like what? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Do the families know of you when you're working their case, or are you like, is it quiet that you're working that case?
Yeah. So if I'm working with an agent, it's quiet because I'm working just with the agent. Sometimes the families or a family member, like cousins or something, will find me, and then I'll work with the family, you know?
Okay.
And so that's when that happens. And either or, I don't mind either or, you know what I mean? Sometimes I feel that I get more information, like when I get more feedback, I should say, after the case and stuff from the people. And like, I'll never forget, I was working on I was doing a reading, and I'll never forget her name, Susie Mackesy. nice woman. Anyways, I was giving her a reading, and all of a sudden, these people called me, and it was the family. And they said, Sheila, thank you so much. We just found him. I'm like, really? Where was he? And they're only like 10 yards. I'm like, oh, thank God. Right. And they had searched for him for 4 weeks. And now this woman who sat in front of me, I was like, oh my, she's like, oh my God. Right. And usually I'm always by myself, like always. So she got to share that with me. And she's like, do you realize that? I'm thinking, oh my God. I'm just like, I couldn't even give her a reading because I was like so happy and crying. And you know what I mean? I'm like, wow, it feels a wonderful feeling. I told her someday, you'll be in my book someday, but I don't think I put her in my book. So
There'll be more.
There'll be more. Yes. But so I don't look at it. You got to stay humble, but yeah, so that's why I like to teach people, mediums, to do the forensics, and because there's different ways of doing it. There is a way to do a reading and asking questions with intent, this and that. But what the method that I'm showing is completely different. It's on an investigative technique where you can communicate with the agencies and the families as well, where you remain professional, and you can, how should I say, be confident in what you're giving them, and that's the key, and like if I'm working on a missing person and we'll get to an area. So sometimes we got to get more information, because spirit will bring us to something else. They'll bring me to the crime. Like one time, oh my God, I was working in the field, and I said, I'm going to go early. I just feel like I want to go early. I like, going with the flow. And I started walking down the street, and all of a sudden I look, and there's this young man. Now I have no idea where the crime is committed, this or anything, comes out of a house, and he just looks at me. And the wrath of God went through me. And I said, oh, okay, how's it going? Hey, going? Kept on walking. Turns out that's where the crime was, in that house.
Of course.
Yep. And I'm like, well, that's the reason why I'm here. I'm like, you just never know. You never, ever, ever know. Yeah. And people will smile to your face and they're dark inside, and you just don't know. You really have to, especially in a case like that, because people don't want you to tell the truth. They don't want you to find out the information. So
for sure,
they'll hunt you down.
Yeah.
Oh. I carry gun. I carry I'm protected. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, because I have to be. Because what if 4 years down the road, someone's angry that I helped out with a case?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, Sheila.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Thank you so much for being here and talking about all this and shedding some light into all of this. I mean, this is like, stuff that I see on TV and in the movies. And,
that's another thing. I don't watch TV. The only thing I watch on TV is 90 Day Fiance. Because I get a kick out of it, but I really won't watch any crime shows or psychic shows because I don't want to think. I don't want to know what people are thinking, because I'm very calculated, where I'll be thinking, oh my God, this is what they think about me. Oh my God, this, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh no, so it helps you to stay with spirit, I think, and you know how that is, Jeffrey. Spirit controls everything that you do. You don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow, but spirit does. But people will say, oh, it's so cool. I'm like, okay. Well, it is. It's different. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely different. That's for sure. And I'm very humble to it. I can't, I'm happy to help. That's the way I look at it too.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
Good. I'm going to teach you, right?
Yeah, I would love that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm all over it.
And then I'll be teaching with you somewhere one day.
Yes, I would love that. Oh my God, we will have a blast together. Can you see us both teaching? Oh my God.
Oh, what a
those students will be awesome.
Yes. We'll have one more question here. Vicky asks, have you ever been asked to work on any of the missing Indigenous women?
Missing Indigenous women? No, I never have, actually. Interesting. Mm-hmm. And what do you mean? What is Indigenous meaning?
I think like the Native Americans who.
No, I never have
been You know, they just
Oh,
kind of
historical, you mean?
disappear and well, I think they still
Oh,
are even, you know, they're
well, I
just
have
kind
to
of
tell you, I work on a lot of historical cases. I was working in Sudbury for a long time, and I was taking them back like 400 years. So I'd be open to something like that. I love historical
oh,
stuff.
interesting. Well, you know,
Yeah.
time is just an illusion, so that's
Yeah, right?
just
Oh, absolutely, and let me tell you, spirit will take you back like 400 years. It's amazing. I was working in a case in Concord, Mass, and I don't really know much about history because I didn't read books. It's true. And, I slept in history because I was an empath, and, so I'm sitting there reciting poems, and I'm like, "I don't know, I'm on this highway, this and that, and there's all these men, this guy who looks like George Washington," and they're like, right? And I'm like, I don't understand. Well, it turns out it was the highwaymen, and that was George Washington. So yeah.
oh.
So absolutely, I love historical stuff, and spirit will show you, and they're very accurate. My brother, who is a treasure hunter, he goes to London, and he's always out with his metal detectors. That him and his team always call me, "Hey Sheila, what? Show me this picture," and I'll take them to all the wells. I'm like, okay, this and that. Oh my God, how did you know that? Yeah, it's really fun. I enjoy stuff like that. That's fun.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so what can we find? Wouldn't that be fun?
Pirate's treasure in the Caribbean.
Right? Oh my gosh. My brother had mentioned there was something like that. There was
Although we
some
need a diver. I'm not a diver, and I will not get in
My
the water.
brother is a diver. So when I worked on the
We
Babe
got that
Ruth case,
covered.
yeah, I got that covered. We got the boat and everything. They went out and helped find the veneers and stuff. There's a picture of my brother with his gear on. Yeah. And that just happened. I'm like, we come together. I called it the BKS team, Big Kahuna Search.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm all over that stuff. To me, that's fun. I know there's maybe, the women may have passed, indigenous women, this and that. But everyone's passed from that ever right now. So it doesn't weigh heavy on me
Mhm,
too much, you know what I mean?
mhm,
But
mhm.
so yeah, so it's a different type of finding, which is either way, it doesn't matter. Spirit's gonna show you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Green asks, speaking of the past, is that what it's like accessing the Akashic records, experiencing the past?
Absolutely. Yep, because everything is files, everything is ether.
Mhm,
And the Akashic records is what I call the psychic files.
mhm,
So absolutely it is. But the difference, so yeah, spirit is showing you, yeah, very much so. Very
mhm,
much so, Akashic records. But for me, it's different. So when I go like to a site, like when I was in Concord in Massachusetts, I was speaking with the spirits, and they're telling me story. I'm communicating back and forth with them, which is a little different than an Akashic record and than just a vision. You know
sure.
what I mean?
Mhm,
So an Akashic record is like a file.
mhm.
So to me, that would be like how should I say? Um, like I'll ask a question and then boom, they'll show it to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Instead of just the communication back and forth. But yeah, both is a little bit of mixed of everything. Yeah.
awesome.
And Akash, everything is vibration, everything is here.
Mhm.
Everything is at our right in front of us if we need it.
Everything is at our etheric fingertips.
Yes, there we go. Oh,
Vicky says, "Thanks for answering our questions." Yeah, Sheila, thank you so much for
oh,
being here. Why don't
thank
you
you for
tell everyone
having me.
where they can find you again, where they can find your book, your
Yep.
classes, your workshops, your retreats, all that good stuff.
Yep. So SheilaMarieMedium.com, or you could go to my book site. It's forensicmedium.com. And that connects you to my website as well. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Yay.
All right,
Woohoo.
you
Thank you for
guys.
having me, Jeffrey.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
I've really missed all of you guys. It's been about 2 months since I've done a live stream, and oh wait, Terry Away has one more question.
Okie dokie.
Sheila, have you used psychometry holding an item of the missing? Ooh, that is a good question.
I have a couple of times, but I don't really need it because
Mhm,
spirit shows me. I had a woman come and she showed me her daughter. This is just one examples, and she showed me her shirt that she had worn, and I held it, this and that. But I had already got the information from spirit. So for me, I don't need to do psychometry because my spirit connection is so strong.
Right.
But if I have to, I will. Like my brother, the treasure hunter, he comes home with all his relics. What do you get from this? And then I'll go back and I'll tell him. And then I'll tell him where he found it and everything. So that in that sense, yes, I do not of missing people though. But I do it differently. But it's a combination of everything, actually. Yeah, I suppose I have. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Tara, your way. Thank you for that question.
Yes, and we teach that. I teach the psychometry and the Akashic records and the psychic files. That's part of my classes online. Actually, I have a 5-week course. It goes for 5 weeks, and it's usually on a Thursday, and it's like an hour and a half long. And we have different levels, and then they're continuous too. So we do online classes as well, tapping into, and then if you want to do mentorship, you can. If you want to do a retreat, we do that as well. But there are in the beginner classes, we do the psychometry, the Akashic psychic files records, and learning the vibration, learning the connection. We learn controlled and uncontrolled meditations. And then from there, we tap into the mediumship. And you don't have to want to be a medium to learn the mediumship. It's just a matter of tapping into the energy,
Sure.
It's for all walks of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for being here, Sheila. And you guys, next week is Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. Have a safe Thanksgiving. I will probably be taking the month of December. I'm not quite sure. I have a schedule with Karen Gabler in the middle of December. But I'm having surgery the Monday after Thanksgiving. I'm having 12 inches of the colon cut out. So,
oh my goodness.
So everybody,
I have to send you some healing.
Power prayers. Yes, please.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah. So I'll be in touch. You'll see it on the upcoming soon live streams. And also, you guys, next year I'm going in front of the groups again. So I'm going to be starting to practice with the groups. So if you guys haven't been to my website, jeffreypeck.com, please go there if you're interested in volunteering. I'm going to be sending out emails to my email list looking for volunteers to join me. It's time for me to start working that group muscle. You know what I'm saying?
Yay.
Eric keeps pushing and pushing.
Well, it's about time.
I know, it's time. It's absolutely time. So
you have to take care of yourself first, though.
Yeah. So yeah. Absolutely. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. You've been watching Something Super Spiritual. Sheila, I'm giving you a great big hug from here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Namaste.
Namaste.